Hey, what's going on, you guys? Drum Machine Addicts is back again with another highly requested tutorial, and today we're going to explain the differences between patterns and scenes in Maschine 2.0. So let's begin. Now, if you look at my screen, you see that I have groups A through H, and each of them is for a different thing. Group A is for the drums, Group B is for the stabs, and so on and so on. So the way Maschine works is if you look at your controller, whether it's the MK1, MK2, Maschine Studio, or Maschine Mikro, you're basically given the choice to have 8 groups. And in those 8 groups, you can have 16 sounds. So let's look at Group A for a second, our drums. All right, notice they have 15 sounds loaded up out of the 16. Now let's go down to Group H. Notice in Group H, they only have 1 sound loaded up. But using the Maschine software, say if I need another group for another group of drums, or I want a synth on a separate group, I can just click the plus button on the software and it'll add another group for me. So now I have Group A2. So you can keep doing this with an infinite amount of groups until you have as many as you need to complete your masterpiece. And that's how you use groups. Now, within those groups and within those sounds, you also have a function called patterns. The way patterns work is, say, let's go back to Group A. Currently, if you look at Group A, we are on pattern 1. And this is what pattern 1 sounds like. Now notice it's a simple drum beat. Now let's say we do that for scene 1, but we want to switch things up a little bit. We want to choose a different pattern. Well, you go here on your software, follow my mouse. And just like that, you can switch patterns. So as you can see, you can load up 16 sounds in a group, but you can also switch patterns at the same time. That's something really cool that Maschine does. Now listen to how the new pattern for our Group 1 sounds. Now notice that's a lot more intricate, and you can do the same thing with each group you have until you run out of patterns. All right, so that's basically a general explanation of how patterns work and how groups work. Now how do scenes work? Well, scenes is basically the way Maschine has of sequencing your song. So as you can see here, you have scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, so on and so forth at the top of your screen. We're currently in scene 1. Now you can change the labeling to make things a lot more simpler for you. Say instead of scene 1, I want to put this as my intro. All I have to do is type intro instead of scene 1. And then I can do the same thing for the following scenes, so on and so forth. Basically, scenes are used to sequence your song and to keep the structure in a good manner, especially if you're doing live performances and you have different changes in mood or different changes in music. You change that according to your scenes. So another thing to notice about scenes as well, notice that the top scene for pattern 1 is 8 bars in length. Pardon me, 8 bars in length when you switch back to pattern 1. But you notice if you look at B, Group B, it's very short, right? In fact, Group B is only 2 bars. So another cool thing Maschine does is if your top pattern is 8 bars and the second one is only 1 bar or 2 bars, it repeats that automatically so that it'll just repeat until the 8 bars is up. Now, depending on what you're doing, that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. It's just something the software does. But essentially, that's pretty much how these things work. That's how patterns work. That's how groups work. And that's basically a basic explanation of scenes. If you have any question about these things, please don't hesitate to send us an email at drummachineaddicts.com or drummachineaddicts@gmail.com. Don't forget to tell a friend to subscribe, and we'll see you next Monday for our Maschine Monday series. Peace.